I never thought a single blue parking spot at Walmart would blow up my entire neighborhood, but that's exactly what happened. One minute I was buying steaks for a weekend barbecue, and the next, the president of my HOA was getting hauled off in handcuffs, all because she thought she was above the law. My name's Frank Castle, and this is how one smug woman's arrogance turned our peaceful community into a battlefield for justice. It started on a July afternoon hot enough to melt your patience. The Walmart lot shimmered like a frying pan. My left knee, the one with a metal souvenir from my time in the service, was screaming every time I hit the brake. I'd circled the lot twice, hoping for a spot that wouldn't turn into a half-mile limp to the door. Then I saw it front row, painted bright blue, the universal symbol of decency, a handicapped space. Hope bloomed for half a second, until a white SUV the size of a small planet swerved in and stole it. I knew that SUV. Everyone in Trenton Hills knew it. It belonged to Karen Jameson, queen of the HOA. Mid-40s bleach blonde ponytail pulled so tight it gave her permanent surprise face, always dressed like she was running a tennis club instead of a neighborhood. She got out of that car without so much as a limp, glanced around like she owned the asphalt, and strutted toward the store. No placard, no hesitation, no shame. I just sat there gripping the steering wheel. Part of me wanted to let it go. I was tired. I just wanted a quiet evening with my wife Linda. But another part of me, the part that spent 20 years defending rules that actually meant something, couldn't. That blue paint wasn't just paint. It was a promise. A promise to guys I served with who came home missing pieces of themselves. A promise to my old man who needed those spots in his last years. So I did what any decent person would do. I took a picture-clear shot of the car, the space, the empty windshield, and called the non-emergency police line. 15 minutes later, a patrol car pulled up. The officer's name was Daniels Young, but sharp. He looked at the SUV, checked the mirror, pulled out his ticket book, and started writing. And right then, Karen came out pushing a cart full of kale and bottled water, the picture of entitlement. When she saw the ticket flapping under her wiper, her face twisted like she'd tasted vinegar. "What is the meaning of this?" she snapped, waving the ticket in Officer Daniels' face. "I'm the president of the Trenton Hills HOA. I was only going to be a minute." Daniels didn't flinch. "Ma'am, you're parked in a handicapped space without a permit. State law applies to everyone." Karen scoffed. "Do you know who I am?" He smiled. "Yes, ma'am. You're the owner of a vehicle that's about to be towed." And just like that, the tow truck pulled in, yellow lights flashing like justice itself. Karen's jaw dropped. People started filming. And when she looked around, her eyes met mine. That look, pure fury, burned a hole straight through me. I knew this wasn't over. The next morning, Linda found a post on the neighborhood social page. Karen had written a whole sob story about being harassed by an unstable veteran. She didn't name me, but she didn't have to. My phone buzzed with screenshots all day. Then came the notices, one after another. Mailbox color non-compliant, $50 fine. Grass 1/4 inch above regulation, another fine. Trash cans left out past 900 a.m. Boom, 50 more. Every day a new one taped to my door. I laughed at first, but the laughter faded fast. This wasn't oversight. This was payback. Linda tried to keep my spirits up, joked about creative writing and enforcement. But I'll be honest, it wore me down. Every morning I woke up wondering what new nonsense would be waiting. And one night I started to wonder if I was the problem. Maybe I'd gone too far. Maybe I should have just kept my mouth shut. That doubt stuck with me until the night someone taped a thick envelope to my door. It looked official, HOA seal, fine print, the works. Inside it claimed we owed $2 grand in accrued violations, and that they were placing a lien on our home. My home. The one I paid for with 20 years of service. That's when something in me snapped. The next morning there was a knock at the door. It was Officer Daniels. He looked serious. "Frank," he said, "this isn't just neighborhood drama anymore. We've been investigating a disability placard fraud ring, and all signs point to your HOA." I stared at him. "You think Karen's involved?" He nodded. "We don't just think we know. We traced fake handicapped permits back to your community. We need someone inside, someone she's targeting." It felt like stepping back into a mission I didn't sign up for. I'd wanted peace, not another fight. But then I looked at the fake lien notice on my kitchen table and thought about that smug face stealing a blue spot meant for someone who needed it. "What do you need me to do?" I asked. So I played the game. I collected every notice, every threat, every whisper. I even repainted my damn mailbox midnight ebony per her new regulation. I smiled, nodded, acted beaten. Meanwhile, I set up cameras, motion sensors, the works. And it paid off. One night at 2:17 a.m., my phone buzzed. Motion detected. I checked the footage, someone in a dark hoodie creeping up my driveway. They crouched by my truck, glint of metal in their hand. And then the hiss of air. My tire went flat in seconds. The figure stood turned, and there it was. A patch on the sleeve. The Trenton Hills HOA logo. I sent the video straight to Daniels. His reply came quick. "That's it, Frank. We've got cause." But I wasn't content just waiting for justice. I wanted to get under Karen's skin the way she'd been crawling under mine. So I spent the next 2 nights reading through the entire 300-page HOA rulebook. And deep in that bureaucratic swamp, I found a gem, a clause allowing landscaping equipment to start at 6:00 a.m. That Friday, I set my alarm for 5:30. At 5:59, I was out front with my gas-powered leaf blower, the loudest one money could buy. The moment the clock hit 6, I yanked the cord. It roared to life like a jet engine. Less than 5 minutes later, Karen's window shot open. "What in God's name do you think you're doing?" she screamed. I smiled and waved. Morning Karen, just following HOA regulations. She glared speechless before slamming her window shut. I swear that silence afterward was the sweetest sound I'd heard in weeks. Later that day, she cornered me by the mailboxes, face twisted with rage. "You think you're clever, don't you? This isn't over. I'm going to ruin you." I just said, "You've already tried." That night my phone rang. Blocked number. A whisper. "Tell Linda to watch her step." Then click. That was the final straw. Daniels and I met the next day. He had a plan, a sting operation that would end this once and for all. A week later, the HOA held its annual Donor Appreciation Night. It was a pretentious little party where Karen loved to show off her fake philanthropy. Daniels sent in an undercover detective, a woman named Miller, posing as a wealthy widow who wanted to donate $5,000 to the HOA in exchange for a personal handicapped parking spot for her disabled mother. Illegal, of course, but irresistible bait for Karen. Linda and I attended like normal residents. Miller arrived halfway through, and Karen zeroed in on her like a shark. Hidden mics in the flower vases picked up everything. "I'd love to support the HOA," Miller said, sweetly opening her purse just enough for Karen to see the envelope of cash. "But I need a guarantee my mother can park close to our house." Karen's smile didn't falter. "The Fountain Fund always welcomes generous donors," she purred. "I think we can make an arrangement, perhaps in my office." That was the signal. As the two of them disappeared into the back, Daniels and his team waited in an unmarked van outside, recording every word. Inside that office, Karen accepted the money and promised a fresh placard within a week, no doctor signature needed. While the transaction went down, I had my own role to play. Tucked in a closet behind the banquet hall was a projector set up for a community slideshow. I had control of the remote. The guests were sipping cheap wine, bragging about lawn awards, oblivious. Linda gave me a tiny nod across the room, our cue. I pressed play. The lights dimmed. The first image flickered onto the screen, my security footage. The shadowy figure crouched by my truck knife, flashing tire deflating. Gasps rippled through the room. Then the freeze framed the HOA logo on the sleeve. I clicked again. Up came the HOA's bank statements, 3 $5,000 withdrawals, all signed by Karen Jameson. The room erupted, whispering, pointing shock. And then perfect timing. Karen walked back, an envelope still in hand. The moment her eyes hit the screen, she froze. You could see the exact second she realized her empire had just crumbled. The main doors burst open. Trenton County Police. Nobody move. Daniels and half a dozen officers stormed in. The guests screamed. Karen dropped the envelope and bolted for the side door. I followed, heart pounding. In the garage, she fumbled with her keys, a heavy duffel bag slung over her shoulder. 2 officers closed in. She swung the bag wildly. It burst open. Blue handicapped placards spilled across the floor like a deck of shame. Her entire operation laid bare. Daniels grabbed her wrists. The cuffs clicked shut, that solid, satisfying sound of justice. And just like that, the reign of Karen Jamison was over. The news spread fast. HOA president arrested in disability fraud ring. Every local channel played the footage, her in cuffs, the fake placards, the money trail. Within 2 days, the entire board resigned. Turns out when the queen falls, her pawns scatter. I didn't feel joy exactly, more like relief. Relief that someone finally called out the rot hiding under all that suburban perfection. Later, Daniels told me that thanks to the evidence we gathered, the county launched a full ADA audit. They repainted every handicapped spot, fixed ramps, replaced old signs, real change, the kind you could see. Karen's trial came months later. She tried to paint me as some bitter old vet with a grudge, but the evidence was airtight: the marked bills, the video, the witnesses. When her lawyer smirked and asked if I often inserted myself into handicapped spaces, I said, "Only when someone steals them." The jury laughed. The judge didn't. But I saw the corner of her mouth twitch. The verdict came fast: guilty on all counts. Fraud, forgery, extortion. 5 years probation, 2,000 hours of community service with a disability advocacy group, and full restitution. When they let her out in cuffs again, she didn't look like a queen anymore. Just another person who thought the rules didn't apply to her until they did. That's where it ended for me. Not with a celebration, not with revenge. Just that sound, the metal click of justice locking into place. And if there's one thing I learned from all this, it's simple. Sometimes peace isn't quiet. It's earned one hard fight at a time.